Greetings.
Greetings.
Season's greetings.
Hey, good call.
It's that time of year.
Time to roast those chestnuts.
Mine are roasted.
Welcome to the Spread, Nesson.com's football picks podcast. I almost got in trouble there. Where we convene every week to make some NFL football picks.
Who's it presented by?
Presented by Nesson.com.
As always.
Damn right.
Proud sponsor, Nesson.com. I am Nesson.com's Mike Cole. That's Ricky Doyle. That's Andre Kachaturian, as you can read right below us. Like as always, we're going to make some football picks this week. We'll do 3 of the best games of the week. Then we'll get in some locks, upsets, maybe do a teaser or 2, a little show and tell to get you out of here. Before we get to this week's 3 biggest games, or the games that we deem the 3 biggest, or just the games that we randomly picked out of a hat, basically, let's get to the records for the last week.
We should stop naming them.
I'm really excited to get to the records for the last week, so
yeah,
let's get into that.
The tryptophan hit me in the in the forehead is what happened this week for me. 6-9-1 is my record, and Ricky and Mike, both of you, phenomenal weeks. Both of you guys. I'm gonna give a hand for you guys because seriously, 9-6-1, both of you guys. But Ricky, I'm gonna call you out right now. You started the week off 8-1.
I started extremely strong.
8-1. I was looking at this.
Then you started shimmying over some of that tryptophan, and it hit me pretty hard as well.
You finished the week 1-6-1.
Yeah.
So that's not something to be proud of.
No.
But so I would say Mike should get the
early.
golden goose of the week.
Consistently average. The golden goose.
The galloping
week.
Golden turkey. Galloping turkey. Galloping gobbler. Overall standings, 80, 90, and 7. That's you, Ricky. You're only 10 games under 500. You're
plenty of time to make that.
Plenty of time to make that.
Plenty of time.
I'm still in second with 76, 94, and 7. I'm falling behind. And Mike Cole breathing down my neck, 72, 98, and 7.
One big week can change a lot of things. So, you went 6,
I went
6,
9, and 1. Yeah, I've lost 3 games.
That is not nice, as the kids would say. All right.
It's naughty.
3 games.
Yeah, good point. Let's make our picks for this week. As always, lines presented by OddsShark, the good folks at OddsShark. Go check their stuff out. We'll sprinkle in some trends as well. But we were talking last week, not a whole lot of use of the database this week or this year, which is probably a reason why I'm 100 games under 500.
Probably.
The database, a very useful
Ever
tool.
since you started using your spreadsheet, you've been...
Well, I just need a bigger...
I feel like you're first place in the last 5 weeks.
I needed a bigger sample size. It's just it was a tough year.
You fell behind way too early in the game.
Yeah.
Very sizable deficit. You're digging your way out of the hole.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
You should make playoff games worth like 10 games each.
Deal. Sure. Why don't we just...
Let's just pick some games,
Christ. That's thanks for patronizing me, guys. Let's start Sunday afternoon. The Detroit Lions, the New Orleans Saints. A real battle of the French occupied. I don't really know if Detroit is French, but it sounds good. The Saints are 5-point favorites at home against a Detroit team that continues to win football games somehow. I'm not really sure how they're doing it, but they're doing it. And I guess credit where it's due, although Sam Bradford helped them in a big way on Thanksgiving. Lions 1-5-6 against the spread in their last 6, according to OddsShark. That's against the Saints, excuse me. And the Saints are 2-8 against the spread in the last 10 games as a favorite of 4.5 or more, which they are in this game. Ricky, what do you think?
Like you said, you got to give it up for the Lions. Not exactly impressive, some of these wins, but they're getting it done, all right? Every single game this year decided by 7 points or fewer. But whatever, you win the game. You play to win the game. Herm Edwards said it. Whatever. That said, I like the Saints in this, and it boils down to their offense. Their offense is clicking right now. They're as good as any offense in football when they are. And it's because they're keeping Drew Brees upright. Yeah. And the Lions don't exactly get after the quarterback. You looked at 25th in the NFL with 20 sacks this year. Last with just 40 quarterback hurries. I think the Saints keep Drew Brees upright again, and when they do that, this past game, 15 for 15 for 123 yards and 3 TDs when he's facing 4 fewer rushes.
Cool.
Give him time, he's going to pick you apart. And what I liked about the game against the Rams, although they did fall behind, is the fact that they made adjustments. I like the two-headed monster of Mark Ingram and Tim Hightower out of the backfield. I don't know. I like it. I like it to keep rolling.
Ricky, it's been, 5 minutes since I've seen you in the mall, or you want to choke you to death?
Well,
let me tell you, the Detroit Lions.
Oh, Jesus, it's just a football pick. Christ.
First of all, Detroit is French. It's named after the Detroit de Luc Erie, which means the Strait of Lake Erie.
Sure.
So the Detroit settlers,
All right,
French colonists.
a lot of
named it.
time.
Come for the picks, stay for the history lesson. I love it.
I'm going to go with the Lions plus 5.5 because the Lions play close games. Every single one of their games has been decided by 7 points or less.
As I alluded to.
Yeah, exactly. So why would you go against them when you have that much of a spread? And the Lions, Matt Stafford, he can be in a shootout with Drew Brees. Why can't he? He's one of the best quarterbacks of the NFL this season, and I think he keeps pace with him. And Saints maybe win, but the Lions cover that spread. That's too large. It's disrespectful.
Oh, okay. Looks like I'm gonna.
They've played some floundering offenses, though.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that Turkey Day game.
So the Saints defense
the Vikings
is
are
gonna
going in
pummel that
reverse.
Lions. Lions offense can put up points.
I get that.
What the Saints defense can do to them.
All right, I'll concede that, but this
Yeah,
thing's going to
better
get into a
concede
shootout,
that.
and I think the Saints are winning that by a touchdown. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm going to pick
I
up
don't
another
wanna-
game on Andre in this game at least because I'm also taking New Orleans. I'm still not sold on the Lions, which might be my fault. But at some point, I guess you have to admit that they might be good. Will you let me finish?
Yeah, I have a point after you finish.
You better not be
Christ.
throwing that finger either.
Yeah, I
I'll
know.
bite that thing
Seriously.
right off, stick it down your throat.
I also like the fact that the Saints have scored the third most home points per first half this season. Detroit, 18th in points allowed per first half on the road. And at some point, they're going to find a deficit that's too big for them to crawl back from. I think that happens this week. You look at, you mentioned Drew Brees playing out of his mind lately. Last 7 games, he scored 20 touchdowns, or thrown 20 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, 75% completion percentage. Lions allowing the 9th most passing yards per attempt. And all 4 of the Lions' losses have come when they've allowed 100 yards or more. They're 2-4 in those games. Again, you touched on that rushing attack. I think that the Saints find a myriad ways to move the football, and I just think I could see the Saints winning this game by 7 points, and that covers it.
And the thing is, you look, the Saints, they've lost 2 of their last 3, but one was that game against the Broncos with the block field goal, kind of fluky. The other one was Thursday night in Carolina. We know what can happen in Thursday night games. I mean, I think this team's a lot better than their record indicates, and it's all predicated on that offense.
And Detroit's a lot worse than
Exactly.
Yes,
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, but you say, Matt Stafford hasn't played any tough defenses. Here's the defenses that Matt Stafford has played in the last 7 games. The Rams defense, not a joke. Texans.
They looked really good against
the one that got 49
Orleans.
Texans defense, not a joke. The Vikings twice, not a joke. And the Jaguars, who in yards per play, they're one of the best in the league. Those are 5 excellent defenses. And Matt Stafford is picking them apart. And he's going to pick apart the Saints. They're going to put up 40 points in this game. 40 points. And I predict the Darius Slay game-ending interception as well.
Okay.
Cool. Good stuff. All right, let's move on.
Really, talking about stick with the trends. Darius Slay, really riding that one.
This is the Ricky Doyle preseason Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl shuffle, as I like to refer to it as.
Which is still, I give him credit, very much alive. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're going, coming off a really nice win Sunday night, one of the best games of the season. They have to go to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Falcons, if I'm not mistaken, coming off the bye. Falcons 3.5-point favorites as it stands right now. According to our friends at Oddshark, I wish I had seen this before making my pick, the Chiefs are 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 games following an against the spread win. And then the favorite team is 6-1 straight up and against the spread in the last 7 matchups between these two teams. Again, Falcons, 3.5-point favorites. Andre, why don't you start us off?
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a classic battle between a good defense and a good offense. Usually go with the good defense, especially when you're getting points. The Chiefs are. And Justin Houston, he's back. That first game, he was kind of feeling things out.
Monster.
He was a monster in that game against Denver, which, by the way, was the game of the year, in my opinion. That was a fantastic display of football. And, you might get Dee Ford back. The Chiefs might get Dee Ford back as well on Sunday, and it just makes their pass rush even better. Falcons' defense is very middle of the pack, and the Chiefs don't make mistakes. They lead the league in takeaways, turnover differential. So there's a lot of things going on that in the Chiefs' side, and I like them, especially when you're giving me points.
Yeah, I'm with you, and you kind of touched on it there with the Falcons' defense being, a little bit shaky, and it only got shaky because they lost Desmond Trufant last week. He's out for the season now. That's a Pro Bowl corner right there. Also, Adrian Claiborne going down with a torn MCL, so that's going to hurt their pass rush a little bit. He was kind of coming into his own on the same side as Dwight Freeney, causing some issues there. So like you said, if this boils down to the two defenses, I like the Chiefs. I like Marcus Peters to lock down Julio Jones. And it's hard to imagine that Philip Gaines, who got torched in that game against the Broncos, it was really boiled down to a couple plays that, they just kind of got torched. I don't see that happening again. I like the Chiefs as well, and especially we touched on it pretty much every single week when we talk about the Chiefs, that turnover battle. The fact that they take the football away and they secure the football.
Yes.
Love that.
Yep. I'm with you guys. I'm also taking the Chiefs. I mean, just look at the fact that it's 3.5 points a year. That half point.
It's good value.
Huge.
It's a good value.
And maybe that's a trap. The fact that we're like, it's a good. But Pro Football Focus, again, kind of add on what you guys said. Justin Houston, they had him ranked the number one player last week, which is pretty impressive considering it's the second week back from a major knee injury. He had 3 sacks, 7 pressures, and 10 defensive stops, according to Pro Football Focus. That's absurd.
Dominant. That first half, jeez Louise.
The Falcons, for as good as their offense is, they don't do a great job of protecting Matt Ryan. I don't know if you guys already mentioned this. I was looking it up. But 23rd worst sack percentage against in the league. And they also, like you said, they don't get after the passer. In the games that Alex Smith has been sacked 2 times or fewer this season, he's completed 73% of his passes for 106.8 passer rating, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Chiefs are 4-1 in those games. So if you keep Alex Smith upright, he doesn't make bad decisions. Again, he's not going to, single-handedly win you the game more often than not, but keep him clean, and it opens up a lot of options. So I think the Chiefs win this game outright, to be honest with you.
I do as well.
Cool.
I'm with you guys.
Move forward.
Sunday night, New York Giants 5.5-point underdogs on the road at Heinz Field, the big old ketchup bottle in the sky. They're taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Giants 3-1 against spread in their last 4 games against the Steelers. Let's see anything else here from the folks at Odd Shark. No, not really.
Why don't you start this one off?
The Giants, by the way, 1-11 straight up in their last 12 as an underdog of 5.5 or less. So they're probably not going to win this football game, although the line is right on 5.5. I'm taking the Steelers here. Everybody's talking about how great the Giants are playing, and sure, whatever. The defense looks great, yada, yada, yada. A little foreshadowing maybe to show and tell. For the last 6 teams the Giants have faced, when they've won those 6 games, they rank in the bottom 10 in yards per play. Baltimore, gross. Los Angeles, ugh. Philly, get out of here. Cleveland, garbage. Not good offenses. The other 2 teams that they faced, Cincinnati, who's just a train wreck now, and Chicago. Chicago somehow is like the yards per play, and we talked about this. It just doesn't make any sense. Also, in the 6 full games, that's not counting the game that Roethlisberger got hurt, the loss in Miami, the 6 full games that they've had Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, and Antonio Brown, they're averaging 28 points per game. And that's including that game against Baltimore, which they probably rushed Roethlisberger back. You take out that game, they're averaging 31.2 points per game in the 5 games that those 3 guys play and are healthy. So, again, we saw it on Thanksgiving. Still not completely where they need to be, but I think that it's a decent enough matchup. Also, Giants, they limit plays against the rush, not so much against the pass. They've given up 6 most pass plays of 20 yards or more, 6 most of 40 yards or more. Steelers, yeah, exactly. Steelers are as good as it gets, at least in terms of passing. And again, Giants don't have a pass rush. So it all points to the Steelers for me, which is a real big alarm. But
I mean, those are all valiant points, but
that's not the word.
Salient.
It is a valiant effort, though.
Salient points.
Valid
And salient.
Yeah.
We'll get you a thesaurus. Maybe this thesaurus should be your show and tell this week.
It's a long night, day, week. But one thing you mentioned is, the Giants. They completely ignore their offensive line, and that's very disrespectful to the Giants' offensive line because they keep Eli Manning upright. This entire season they've been doing that. He has time to throw, and that's why he's been succeeding with Odell Beckham and Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Sharp.
Not Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Shepard?
Sterling Shepard. Sterling Sharp. I was going to say Tajay Sharp first. That would have been really bad.
Keep going. You got it eventually.
Okay, and another thing you need to mention is the Giants, they started off the season without getting any forcing turnovers. But during their last 5 games, they forced 11 turnovers and have a +5 turnover differential.
Mm-hmm. They're against bad teams.
Against bad teams, I get it, but Pittsburgh, obviously excellent offense. I probably think they'll win that game, but again, that 5.5-point spread against a defense as good as the Giants. Again, I'm going to take the defensive team against the offensive team, especially when I'm getting points. So I'll take the Giants.
I have no idea where you got off saying Eli Manning is playing. The insinuation is playing really brilliant.
Oh my! I almost want to change my pick because I agree with you. I'm taking the points in this situation. I think the Giants can keep it close. And I can't believe it's brilliant. Brilliant.
Like, he's been fine.
You're looking at the season stats. Look at the last 5 weeks. Look at his numbers during the winning streak. He's excellent.
Brilliant.
What do you want him to do?
Listen, I'm taking this because I am buying into the Giants' defense a little bit. I like their ability to close out games. I think those offseason additions that they made are finally kind of coming together and looking pretty good. I'll give it to you that they've played some piss-poor offenses. But at the same time, you can only play the teams on the schedule. That's a great cliche that I'd like to throw at you. And the Steelers, I mean, they got their back-to-back wins following that 4-game losing streak, but they beat up on the Browns and the Colts team that had Scott Tolzien as its quarterback. So, I don't know. If we want to start tossing around, it can go both ways.
It's a road Thursday night
Can I just say something about this myth that the Giants are playing piss-poor offenses? Let's go back earlier in the season. They beat the Dallas Cowboys. They're the only teams that beat the Dallas Cowboys. And the next week they held the Saints to 13 points. What do you want them to do? They're playing their schedule.
One thing I do have questions about when it comes to the Steelers, though, is that pass defense. And this is where I think that they can make up those points. I'm not going to say Eli's playing brilliant, but I think he's good enough to keep it within the, what is it, is the spread at 5.5?
Yeah.
So you're open at 5.5.
To your point, I'm sorry I put a lot more stock in what happens in November than I do in September.
I'm just saying they've done it before, but they just haven't had the opportunity to play a good offense. It's not their fault. They're not the schedule makers.
All right. Well, that was fun.
Also, last 5 weeks, Eli Manning. Hold on. Eli Manning, 12 touchdowns, 4 picks last 5 weeks.
Oh, that's
what's wrong with that? What's bad with that?
That's solid. That's solid.
Brilliant.
Like, it's Philly, Cincinnati, Chicago, Cleveland, 3 of those games at home. But it's been brilliant. Brilliant.
I don't know.
All right, locks.
It just seems big. The spread just seems big to me.
Locks upsets. Let's start with locks. Ricky.
Sure. I'm gonna take as my lock the Raiders. 3.5-point favorites. I think it opened up as over the Bills. This could be a sucker's bet given Derek Carr's finger situation that he's dealing with. A little banged up phalange there. It's tough when you got to play basically out of the shotgun for the entire rest of the game that he just did. But he actually played, you could argue, played better after the injuries, which is crazy.
He did.
Maybe that's just a crazy, wacky type of deal that happens. But this, for me, comes down to the Bills. Their red zone defense has been terrible lately. First 7 weeks of the season, they were first in the NFL. Over the last 5 weeks, they've been dead last in the NFL. This team's relying basically on LaShawn McCoy and Sammy Watkins, 2 guys who could fall apart at any given moment. So I look at the Raiders. I know you love the Raiders. That defense does have some issues, but
they force turnovers.
If we've talked a lot about bad quarterbacks in the past. You know, the Brock Osweilers of the world and whatnot.
Not even
Tyrod Taylor has done crap this year.
It's not his fault.
He's done nothing to impress me, though.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a whole lot to work with.
Yeah.
I'll give him another shot next year.
I mean, that's all relevant.
Hey,
there are guys doing more with less.
Sure.
I think he's got weapons.
But he's not very good.
I'm surprised you just went on this whole spiel about the Raiders and did not mention Donald Penn once.
Love
Very
Donnie
disrespectful. There you go.
Love Donnie Penn.
Hey, good.
So, again, like I said, could be a sucker's bet, but I'm looking at that, and 3 points, 3.5 points, whatever it ends at, I like it.
What are your thoughts on that one?
Which one?
This Raiders Bills.
I don't really care. I'm actually looking up Eli Manning's. Did you watch the game on Sunday? He completed just over 50% of his passes. Yes. 7.1 yards. Like, he's averaging 6.4 yards in a attempt the last 4 weeks.
Maybe the word brilliant is a little too much.
He barely completed 50% of his passes for 194 yards.
12 touchdowns, 4 picks in the last 5 weeks, and his offensive line is keeping him upright, which is what Eli needs.
I don't really have your thought of the Raiders-Bills game. That one's the hard one. I still haven't figured that out.
Anyway,
I know I have a feeling where you're going with your lock, and I actually really like that one, and you stole it from me when we were kind of just spitballing some things. So I will say I'm gonna set it up on a T for you when you do get there. But I still like the Raiders.
Yes, I like the Broncos over the Jaguars. I think the.
I also like that one.
Yeah,
I forgot how small the spread is on this. It's very small.
5, I believe.
It's unreal how small that is. Yeah. I mean, Broncos have to be very motivated after that heartbreaking loss against the Chiefs. And
Now they're out of the playoffs, so they need a win.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to come out with guns blazing. And here's the only thing you need to know about this game. Jacksonville has the second most giveaways in football this year with 22, also the worst turnover differential. Denver has the third most takeaways with 20. So I'm guessing a lot of Blake Bortles interceptions in this one.
This stinks.
The spread consensus, according to OddsShark, is 5 points at the moment. You can get it as low as 4.5 in some
Interesting.
places.
The OddsShark predicted score is 22-21.
Denver. Correct.
Denver, yeah. So they think the Jaguars will cover. But no, I think Denver wins this one, and they win by a lot.
I agree. My lock rolled 2 weeks in a row. Sat up here last week and said I think the Green Bay Packers win the game. Well, actually, that was my upset, but I still liked it. I said it on the Twitter machine last night. Said Monday night the Packers are going to win. I like them again this week. 4.5-point favorites. A little weary of that. At home against Houston. Houston stinks. Brock Osweiler stinks. You know what the Packers' problem is? Their defense stinks. But you know what Houston doesn't do? They don't play offense very well,
No,
at least when they're
not
trying to
good.
throw the ball. So maybe, try to take away the run game. The Packers have been pretty successful against that this season. I look at what I saw Monday night, and the Packers played a lot of, I don't know, I haven't looked at the all 22 yet, but it looked like they were in zone a lot, cover 3, kind of saying, you're not going to beat us over the top. So if you do that against Houston this week, I think you take your chances, kind of a bend but don't break type of defensive approach, and then just let Aaron Rodgers go win you the game. Because I think Aaron Rodgers, you want to talk about guys who are playing brilliantly. Aaron Rodgers is actually playing brilliantly over the last 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah. A little bit better than Eli Manning.
Yeah, a little bit. I also wonder, you saw this Monday night, the Packers finally have been begging for this all season. Start, working in those short, that first drive was a thing of beauty, where they just walk down the field, these quick, short slants, crossing routes, things like that. Houston, I wonder if they can tackle, at least in terms of, after the catch. They technically are among the best teams in yards per catch allowed this season in the lump sum of it, but they don't give up a lot of completions. So if the Packers can actually complete those passes, if you look at yards after catch per reception, Houston 4.9 yards. You know what the worst team against yards after catch this season is? Atlanta. They average 4.9 yards after catch per completion. So I think the Packers can make some big plays out of small plays and win this game.
Can we also mention how underrated the Packers' pass rush is? You can bring some pressure.
When it's going well, yes, it's one of the best. It can be, but it's just it's a tough situation for that defense right now. But I think again, I like the matchup again for them this week.
7th in sacks.
Offense that's not great. Yeah.
7th in sacks.
All right, upsets. Andre, kick it off.
Upsets. I'm gonna take the Miami Dolphins.
Ajayi.
I don't know how they're underdogs.
I know that one would look weird too. There's
a lot of weird spreads this week. Who are they playing this week? Who's Miami playing? I'm taking them. Baltimore. Yeah.
A lot of it's a tough week to pick upsets. There's not a whole lot of
because I got the Dolphins and the Chiefs to pick and the Giants.
What's the weather like in Baltimore this weekend? Is the game in Baltimore? Must be.
Yes.
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
Listen, Dolphins lead the league in defensive hurries with 83. They really know how to pressure the quarterback, and it's turning into turnovers. And Miami has 11 takeaways compared to just 2 giveaways during their 6-game winning streak. It's a +9 turnover differential. And the Ravens, on the other hand, they're a team who's been beating up on teams, and they really haven't been impressing me. Only quality wins against Pittsburgh, and Big Ben was kind of banged up in that game. And Ravens also have the second fewest offensive touchdowns in the NFL. So
sure.
I love Ajayi. Can't go against Ajayi.
Was anybody else annoyed by that punt play at the end of the game?
I thought it was very interesting.
Oh, that was cool. I'm just glad it didn't affect the spread.
Because, I would have been extremely pissed off if I was the Bengals, though. It just would have annoyed the crap out of me. If I'm on that special teams unit where you're just defenseless, basically, I would blow a gasket.
Especially
I would be storming into that press conference
Wait, did the referee call every single flag after that? I didn't hear the penalty call.
I don't think so.
No, I think it was, they basically said, I don't know.
Everybody
But what's
but
funny
Denver
is there was
every
there's retaliation, so the penalties offset. There's like 10 penalties on the Raiders.
It was a
and one on
madhouse.
the
I was
Bengals,
watching
so
like
they offset.
like 9-year-olds just like falling all over the place. It's like, what is going on out here?
It does suck.
But I just wish one Bengals defender like broke free and just blasted the punter through the back wall of the end zone just to send a message. Hit him right in the mouth. Screw it in the quarterback in the mouth. Hit the punter in the
I've been
mouth.
avoiding that phrase today in the mouth. Try and go one week without saying it.
Now you got me.
Oh, there you go.
Anyways.
Ricky, upset.
I'm not even going to waste much time on this, but I'm taking it. I'll take the Niners over the Bears. It's technically an upset, but
I don't mind it.
it's. I mean, should it even really be? These are just two bad football teams at the end of the day. And really, it boils down to the quarterback play. I just trust Colin Kaepernick a little bit more than Matt Barkley. I mean, they might as well throw Niles Barkley, Barkley integrated out in marketing
last week.
company.
3 touchdowns.
He's still. I have a hard time taking him.
Garbage.
I have a hard time taking him and giving points. Basically, is what it boils down to. Kaepernick. Say what you want about the guy and his philosophical views, but he's been playing pretty well over the last 3 weeks.
The Bears have that yards per play differential.
I'm done with that.
That makes no sense, yeah.
It might make sense against the 49ers, though.
I'm done with
true.
it.
All right.
Yeah, that's true. They do have a pretty terrible run defense. But whatever.
My upset, I'm taking Tampa Bay as a 3.5 point road dog against San Diego.
Oh,
I literally
no.
I literally have nothing written down for
Very
it.
difficult game to pick.
Yeah, I know. So I
It's so hard
I don't
to
really
pick
have a
that
reason. I think Tampa Bay's playing well. San Diego, their path to the playoffs, it's getting harder and harder to find one. So maybe they kind of mail it in. That's a tough. I feel bad for San Diego. They're just in a bad spot where it's like you're in a real tough division. It's somebody in the AFC South gets to send the playoff team no matter what. And, who knows what's going to happen with the North. It's just, I mean, San Diego, the door is still open, but it's closing. So, I don't know. Give me Tampa Bay. They still have a lot to play for. They look good, I guess. They look a lot better with Doug Martin back. So
San Diego is not a team I would want to play in like a big game down the stretch, though. You know what I mean? They just
all those AFC West teams.
You get a weird spoiler vibe about them.
Depends where the game is, but yeah.
Because you're just so inconsistent. You really don't know. It's very Jekyll and Hyde-esque.
Put them in the cold. I'm big on weather. It's getting to be the weather time of year. I would like to see them do something in the cold because they've really, they play in San Diego, obviously, and even on the road, they've had a lot of.
What's the word I use? Valiant?
Valiant, yeah.
It meant salient.
Should have kicked you out of the room when you dropped that.
All right,
Before
teasers.
things snowballed any further.
Prop bets.
Very excited about my parlay today.
Parlay. Why don't you kick it off?
I'm going to kick it off. The NFC East parlay. I'm going to pick all the NFC East teams to win straight up. Dallas Cowboys over the Vikings. The Redskins, Eagles, and Giants over the Steelers. Where are the Redskins playing? Redskins are playing the Cardinals. They're also an underdog. Redskins at Arizona. That's also like a. Come on, what am I missing here, underdog?
I don't know. That's a big David Johnson game written all over.
Yeah, it does. But Kirk Cousins is good protection. I love the offensive line. All these NFC East teams have great offensive lines, and the Eagles are playing some bad team, and I think they'll win as well.
Okay.
So that's my NFC East parlay.
Cool, Ricky.
I like all three of the locks that we mentioned, so I don't want to steal you guys', but for the purposes of this exercise, I will. I also like that Bucs-Chargers game that you were talking about, the lock. I like the over in that, 47.5. That seems like there's going to be a lot of points in that. Very weird, the fact that the Bucs beat the Seahawks. What was it, 17-5?
14-5, I think, or was it
14-5 or 17? Whatever it was, 5 points were involved. Strange. I don't see that happening again. Obviously, the Bucs team is built around its offense. Chargers, we know the way they can sling it around. So 47.5 seems like nothing to me. And I also like the Seahawks and Panthers going over 44.5 because I think the Seahawks, look at that last week, they come out guns blazing a little bit.
Yeah.
You would think that this is the type of point in the season when they usually thrive. Obviously not last week, but I like that Panthers defense without Luke Kuechly. It's trash. You don't have your leader.
It wasn't trash the other day.
A lot of gun talk this week.
Was it
was
it trash?
Yeah, they gave up 35 points.
Yeah, I guess.
Or whatever it was. Well, I mean, to the Raiders, but
it was the Raiders.
It's a good offense, but I think Seattle they're capable of doing some things offensively. That's a huge blow. I mean, you look across the league. Not too many bigger blows you can suffer.
That being said, I got a teaser. 3 teams, 7 points. I like Dallas getting 3.5. I love that on Thursday night. Patriots giving just 6. I think they can win by 7. And I like Carolina. Tease it to 14. maybe that Carolina defense isn't as good without Luke Kuechly. That's obvious. But again, you just look at Seattle. I'm a little weary of whether they can even score 14 points right now. So I think that Carolina's got a pretty good pass rush. I think they keep it close. I also couldn't find the odds on this, but I'm gonna have to circle back. Last week, I think Aaron Rodgers entering Week 13 plus 6,600 to win MVP. I wish I could go back in time and wager on that, because I think if that team gets into the playoffs, if they win the NFC North, if they win out and he keeps playing like he has over his last 6 games, 17 touchdowns, 3 picks, 104.1 passer rating, and a wide open MVP field, he's the guy to take, especially for that value. But I don't know what the number is, so I couldn't really.
I'd venture to say that's some brilliant quarterback play. I don't know about you guys. It's phenomenal.
Really?
All right.
Pretty good. All right.
He has no idea where to make him.
No, he's itching to get to hit the bottle. It looked like he tapped into that.
This is an empty wine bottle.
I drank some of that.
You might have
Yeah. Anyways.
Menage a trois. Empty wine bottle, and this is because anybody who thinks the NFL's product is garbage, like the man on my left here, is drunk. You know why? Have you seen the product the last 3 weeks, Mike? Game after game is excellent. This week we had Lions-Vikings was good on Thanksgiving. Cowboys-Redskins was a beautiful game on Thanksgiving.
Just because it's a close game.
Chiefs-Broncos was a fantastic. Chiefs-Broncos was one of the best of the year. Cowboys-Redskins was good from start to finish.
Sit here and
we had
say
Patriots-Jets was a good one.
Christ,
You had an
no, it
upset
wasn't.
divisional brewing.
A close game doesn't mean
And
a
then
good
you
game.
had the Raiders-Panthers was a
Jesus.
fantastic game. Panthers came back, and the Raiders won a close one. A few weeks ago, we had the Saints-Ravens game that was the Saints-Broncos.
So great.
Saints-Broncos.
1 or 2 games here and there has been
You had
good.
a game ending on a field goal block, and you returned the ball for an extra point. That was the first time a game ended like that.
There
That
are
was
16
phenomenal.
of them each week. Some of them should be good.
And then Steelers-Cowboys, an excellent one. So what do you say? You have like four or five games are really good every week.
When they're
That's
bad,
a quarter of the schedule is good every week.
When they're bad, they are
quarter
horrible.
of the games.
There is not nearly enough.
Can you say that about a week in regular season baseball in June?
It's
no,
apples
you can't.
and oranges.
You can't
Jesus
say
Christ,
a quarter
that's
of the
so
games
dumb.
in June in
And
baseball
to sit here
were
and
excellent.
say that Thursday afternoon game was good is just ridiculous.
The
It was
Lions-Vikings
a
was
16
a
to
good
13 game with Sam Bradford throwing 3-yard outs all goddamn afternoon.
And I love how you just cherry pick and pick that one.
Oh, look, that's all you do. That's all you do with this stuff. That's all you just did for the last 35 seconds, is you cherry picked. You can't sit here and say, over the course of 13 weeks
What do you
or
want?
whatever
You want every
it's been.
single game to be an
No,
instant
I'd like
classic?
I gotta do.
I'd like to have
I
a
gotta
little
do.
bit.
You think every game is an instant classic?
No, Jesus Christ! But go out and watch the Browns Giants last week.
It was bad, yes.
When the bad
But guess
games are
what? It's
bad, they are horrible.
Yeah, you could say that about every other sport. You could say that about every other
Not
sport.
every other sport gets put up on a pedestal like the NFL. If you want to be
Because
the
you get
king,
games like the
people are going to
Chiefs
come
and
after you.
Broncos on Sunday night, which was a regular season
Because
game.
it's just a watered down product. It's just.
Oh, dude, that game was excellent. Did you watch that game?
I'm not saying that there's a chance that there
2 or
might
3
be
games
a
a
game.
week are excellent, and you don't get that with any other sport. 2 or 3 games are excellent television, captivating stuff, and that's all I want to see. You've been drinking too much of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna step in here and try and settle this thing down a little bit, because I got Kenny Rogers' greatest hits. Coincidentally, one of the songs on there is "Every Time Two Fools Collide." But I brought this in because track number 1 is "The Gambler," and this represents me having no issue with Gary Kubiak bringing in Brandon McManus to try that 62-yard
I have
field
no
goal
problem with that either.
against the Chiefs. No, because, and this goes back to a few weeks ago, your show and tell, bring out the tie, throw the ties out, sick of the ties. I'm not playing for a tie. I sat there in week 1 and talked about rolling the dice. Jack Del Rio, I loved it. I would have been hypocritical if I came in there and second-guessed Gary Kubiak. I like the fact that he went for the win. Was it a low percentage play? Absolutely. But you know what? I'd rather go for the win right there than punt it away. That's just a...
And trust your defense, right? Especially if you're the Broncos. You trust your defense.
That'd be a chicken crap move to punt it away. Try to kick the field.
Right.
High altitude. Why the hell not? Punt the ball.
Punt it.
Punt it.
Trust your defense in that situation.
Another
No,
one. Yeah.
because the problem with that is you only have to go 6-7 yards to get
You're a Super Bowl defense.
Stop him.
Then punt it and just take the tie and then take
But,
the chances down the road. Because now you're out of the playoff picture.
You're playing the Jaguars this week.
No, I get it.
You
It's
make
still
the field
early.
goal.
And the Chiefs are playing the Falcons.
Yeah,
But he didn't make the field goal because it's a 62-yard field goal in
But the
35-degree
hindsight's
weather.
2020.
And
No, when it's a 62-degree
We can
yard.
Monday morning
Cairo
kick this whole thing.
Cairo Santos barely made his field goal. It hit the post, and what a game! That was an amazing game.
It was great.
That was
Great.
awesome.
Watch
Mike
it.
Tirico was not talking about the win that much though.
If you
I'm
could
trying
stop,
to pay attention to
if you
it.
could stop the Chiefs,
The altitude, though.
second,
The
too.
altitude
Yeah.
was disgusting.
Yeah, the altitude was
At length, ad nauseum.
The altitude is the new wind. All right, let me pull this out here. I got peanut butter. I'm not going to say what brand of peanut butter because it doesn't matter, and the peanut butter is not brought to you by Nessun.com, the main sponsor of this program, so I'm not going to give away any free
No, don't you
advertisement.
dare.
Peanut butter for Josh Norman. What I think Josh Norman should do is open this up, scoop it all into his mouth, and just leave it there. Because then he won't be able to talk. You can't talk when you get too much peanut butter in your mouth. Josh Norman comes out after Thanksgiving Day and says, this guy, talking about Des Bryant, bumps into me like, what's up? Where I'm from, we unload the clip.
Great transcript.
Pretty much whatever you want to do. I'm not that guy. If I see a challenge in front of my face, I'm not going to back down. That's not me. That's not what you're going to get. So I'm sorry if I offended anybody. Actually, I'm not sorry if I offended anybody. That's who I am. That's the end. I'm unloading the clip all the way out to the end of the game. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
This guy's just going off. And then he comes out on Monday and says, well, Des Bryant didn't actually say unload the clip, which is turned into a big brouhaha, but whatever. So he goes, can't get into it, man. Now he doesn't want to get into it after acting like a jackass on Thursday. Can't get into it. Everybody want to go against me for some reason. I don't know. At the end of the day, that was then. This is now. It is what it is. Like, great. Ton of cliches. Now you want to use cliches after unloading the clip. Then somebody asked him why he's always in the middle of this kind of crap. And he goes, nothing. Trolls and clowns. Trolls and clowns. You're at the top. Everybody gunning for you. That's what happens. Win something. You're you're an awesome cornerback. Then you get into this crap with everybody. You're on a secondary that blows. I mean, I'm sick and tired of this guy running his mouth. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just not a big Josh
Yeah.
Norman fan. Yeah. Granted, you're going up against two jackasses and Odell Beckham and Des Bryant. So maybe anybody in the NFC can just go play by themselves and leave me alone. But
NFC
Jesus, it's the NFC East. Whatever. Well, who cares? I don't
NFC
know.
best.
Oh my God.
All right, guys.
Wow, there's a lot of testosterone in this release.
Yeah.
All right, we need to get out of here.
Let's
man.
go home.
Dare to dream, but don't fall in love with the
Love
dreamer.
each other.
Thanks again to Oddshark for the lines and trends. Thanks again for Nessun.com for sponsoring this great program. Anything else, guys?
Just love the world away. Just love it away.
We're going to go listen to some Kenny Rogers. See you guys later.